Seventh, Christon Hunredson. Hello, Christon. Thank you again for the Usaki Yojimbo Commission. That was a good one. That came in in a timely way, where there had been definitely a dry stretch with no checks to speak of coming in. So always welcome, and enjoy drawing it. The cartooning break. Greetings to the both of you, and I hope that you're enjoying your summer. I'm doing good. You're doing good. You said so.
I'm doing great.
Great. That's right. So great, Matt. Great Wisconsin. Great summer. So I realize that your goal and true focus is to complete The Strange Death of Alex Raymond, or to come as close to it as possible.
Which, I'm going to interrupt real quickly. What page you on, Dave?
I just finished page 612. Yes, I'm working on the facing page, 613.
Okay. I always forget to ask these things, and I think about it after. I'm like, I should have asked.
Yeah, it's considering the first new drawn page was like 555. I'm re-chuffed with my pile of pages. They are officially now getting to be a pile in addition to the ones on the wall. But I'm also recognizing, getting back to Christon, but I'm also recognizing all the time and effort put into the latest Akimbo and Cerebus projects, which seem to centralize around a Cerebus-type character. It was my impression that you don't get much satisfaction from drawing and working on the character of Cerebus anymore. That said, simply for monetary, all caps on monetary reasons alone, would you ever consider putting that effort into an original short story or series of short stories showcasing possible Cerebus prequel tales, such as when did he come into possession of his helmet, medallions, sword, etc., as an example? Just a dreamer's thought. Have a fantastic August, Christon Hunredson. 8th, Christon. Wait a gosh darn minute. No, see, we're both getting too excited here. He's got in parentheses additional comment to my previous email that I forgot to attach. He says, my potential suggestion is to print these original short Cerebus stories within upcoming Cerebus in Hell with a question mark issues. I already enjoy Cerebus in Hell with a question mark. Well, thank you. But just the idea of true Cerebus content within them, well, that's beyond exciting. 3 exclamation marks. Thanks again, Christon Hunredson. The closest I'm coming to that is the Ninja High School / Cerebus crossover, which from Cerebus's perspective takes, if you don't like spoilers, now's the time to turn the sound down and just go la 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 la. Okay, everybody that's spoiler phobic, we're getting ready to keep going on that. The closest I'm coming to that is the Ninja High School / Cerebus crossover, which from Cerebus's perspective takes place during panels 1, 2, and 3 of page 18 of Cerebus number 1, which everybody who's got a Cerebus number 1 or a reproduction of it, which is a bunch of you, can go and check that out. It isn't really about satisfaction. Cartooning is cartooning, and photorealism is photorealism. It's about loosening up for Strange Death of Alex Raymond. I mean, that's my motivation when I'm not doing Strange Death of Alex Raymond, but I'm doing cartooning. That's what I'm doing. So that's really not what you're talking about. So basically, I'm qualifying it right up ahead and saying I can't change my motivation because my motivation is my motivation relative to how do I keep doing this at age 68 and hopefully actually getting through it and hopefully actually getting better at it. An insight I've just gotten in the last day or so, literally it's that new, is that I'm too reverent about the work of my comic art heroes. They have a high percentage of jaw-dropper panels, yes, but they also have their share of dud faces, figures, panel designs, etc. And I realized that yesterday when I'm recreating a panel from August 17th, 1949, which is the day after Margaret Mitchell has died, and it's of a police dog breaking in through a door. And the reproduction, unfortunately, in the IDW books, is atrocious on it. So I'm going, okay, what do I have that's like that I could look at to go, how did Alex Raymond render this? What thinking went into dog fur? And I'm going, okay, dog fur at the top, in with my Heritage Auction scans printed out. I'm going, it's actually not one of the Heritage Auction scans. It's Jim Keefe, who was one of the last guys to draw Flash Gordon, sent me a very, very clear, crisp photocopy of a Rip Kirby strip that he owns. And I went, I'm pretty sure this was in the story that introduced Rip Kirby's dog, which is a Saint Bernard, and I'm going, I'm pretty sure the dog is in that strip. I may be misremembering, but it's from the storyline that introduces that. So I had to go through all of my Stan Drake, Al Williamson, and Alex Raymond, and John Prentice printouts of printed strips and go, okay, Dave, time to finally get organized on these. Let's put them into different piles. Let's put Stan Drake upstairs with the other Stan Drake printouts from Syracuse University. Let's put Alex Raymond just with Alex Raymond, large size Alex Raymond and small size Alex Raymond, and let's pull out the Al Williamson. This was the first time since 2006 when Yoram was here with his collection of Al Williamson Secret Agent X9 strips, and had brought them. I had specifically asked him, can you bring them over and I'll shoot full-size photocopies of them? And it's like, sure, no problem. So they were very wide, so I had to shoot 2 photocopies of each one. And they're very, very clean, very, very clear, because obviously I had the photocopier right up to snuff, because Al Williamson comic strips are coming to visit. And it was very interesting because it's they were strips that Yoram could afford buying them from Al Williamson's. I think she was widow at that time, Corey, and some of them you have to sort of like decide on the spot. I'll be happy to sell you some Agent Corrigan originals. You come over and look at them. These are this much. These are this much. These are this much. And you have to go, well, okay, which ones do I want, and why do I want them? And they had been picked over pretty good by that point. So it's he had very good taste, and he picked out a number of very good strips. But it was also hit and miss in terms of almost all of them are 3 panels, and you could see, okay, this is the panel that Yoram wanted because this is like absolute primo Al Williamson. But these other 2, it's not primo Al Williamson. It's definitely Williamson, but he's having to produce 6 strips a week, and at a specific point, you got to just do them. It's the Nike just do it because time's wasting, and I got to get this week's strips done and get them to King Features by mail, no less. And it was a very arresting moment going, well, okay, stop beating yourself up that you're not doing primo Al Williamson, because it is a hit and miss process. It is, you can see that he's just wailing on the page, and sometimes he's wailing with the brush, and it's a thick brush, and that's just brilliant. That's just the way he did it. It's so quick and spontaneous, and yet it's absolutely perfect and meshes perfectly with the pen work on that panel. And it's like, yeah, but the one next to it, that didn't happen. He obviously tried to do the same thing, and it's like, no. Sometimes you get the perfect 10, and sometimes you get a 7, and sometimes you get a 6. So my goal is photorealistic self-improvement, and taking a cartooning break between Strange Death of Alex Raymond pages helps with that, because I'm more comfortable doing that as a cartoonist. It's, I'm doing my Cerebus #1 style, but I'm trying to do a better version of it. But I'm also, okay, I know how to do this, so just wail on it a bit. Just, here's where the brush strokes go, fill in the solid blacks. Learning how to do that again, learning how to say, and this is no advice for any artist listening to this, there's always something on the page that you know how to do. Always something. So always be doing something. Don't sit and stare at something where you go, I really don't know how to do that. I mean, it's supposed to be hair or it's supposed to be fur, but I don't know how to do that. Well, okay, here's an area of solid black up here. You know how to do that. Fill in the solid black. Okay, here's the screen on the door that the dog's bursting through. You know how to do that. That's this brush, and cleaned, and then just balance the metal on the brush against your metal ruler, and just lay in the very, very wide cross hatching that makes up the screen door. Get that done. And it's like, okay, well, it doesn't look as good as Alex Raymond's. Well, it's still done, and you knew how to do it. Now start tackling the things that you don't know how to do. So, go and get a couple of carrots and eat your carrots and stare at this photocopy of, I'm trying to think of the name of the dog. This is really going to bother me. I'm thinking Winston, but it's not Winston. It's, anyway, the dog in Rip Kirby. And yes, it is. Here's Alex Raymond, crystal clear, January of 1949, not August of 1949, doing dog fur and not doing a German Shepherd doing a Saint Bernard, but it's still dog fur, and it's still this is the way he's thinking. This is his mix of lines and brushwork, and just look at it and understand it, but also dive back in and start doing all of the things that you know. Here's the solid black. Here's some hatching that you can see what it reproduced like. Here's hatching from not the same strip, but from the same storyline. This is what it actually looks like, where the engraver had to really darken it up because it's so light and so tiny because it's Alex Raymond. This is what it looks like. Just fill the space that takes up. So there's always things that you know how to do. So that's in terms of, Christon, in terms of answering your question, this is what I'm thinking of. This is my motivation anytime I'm writing or drawing now, and that's just not in the category of, what I got to do is sit down and come up with a really funny origin story for Cerebus's medallion. It's like, that's not going to just happen on its own, and that's Strange Death of Alex Raymond time, or Strange Death of Alex Raymond prep cartooning time that I'm not using for that, and that's definitely not what I'm doing. I'm the same thing as anything that Rowley can do. Get Rowley to do, because Rowley can't write and draw Strange Death of Alex Raymond. We have to get to the point where everything that's being done is pretty much automated, so that I don't have to instruct anybody. I can just do little coded things. Here, this is what this means. No, I'm not going to phone you. No, I'm not going to fax you. This is just coming. Rowley's going to scan this. It comes to you. This is what it means. Please just do it. Then, in Sean's case, you're going to do this, then you're going to get a printed copy. When you get the printed copy and you say, this is it, this is as perfect as it's going to get, then it's all done. Doesn't have to come back to me, because I'm working on Strange Death of Alex Raymond. Let's everybody get our minds on the same page in the hymnal. But just continuing to answer your question in your frames of reference, I do understand you're asking as a Cerebus fan, and you're asking as a Cerebus fan who wants canonical Cerebus stories, or story that fit in with the Cerebus storyline. Cerebus, in my mind, as its author, so now we're in a completely different part of Dave Sims' life and Dave Sims' reign. As its author, in the pre-sequel literary tradition, and by that I mean everybody in this day and age, anybody who writes, their editor and definitely their publisher, if they have even a semi-successful book, is going to go, can you do a sequel? And most authors are going to say, I need to do a sequel. I hope that this book is successful, because if this one's successful, then I know what I'm doing for my next book, and it'll have a leg up towards success, because it'll be a sequel to this successful book. How I think of Cerebus as an author is from before that time period, where you didn't think about sequels, and you didn't think about revisiting a novel. You did the novel to the best of your abilities, going, this is my only chance. Once this is done, and once this has gone through the editing stage, and once all of the galleys have been approved, and it's gone to the printer, this is the last time that I will have anything to do with this. So in Cerebus, in my mind, is a finite 16 volumes, 6,000 pages. It's done.
You can't say it that way. Like, it's just 16 volumes and it's just 6,000 pages. I mean, you did it for 26 years. At a certain point, you never want to see the little gray bastard again.
Right. And I assumed it was, well, if Arthur Conan Doyle had done this with Sherlock Holmes, he would have had no problem. Just tell him 26 years ahead of time. It's like, it works, but it's definitely not perfect. I understand what you're saying, but Christon, but I experience it as instead of treating Cerebus as a finite, finished literary work, why don't you consider Cerebus like McDonald's Land and do new commercials featuring the Hamburglar and cheese? To me, that's the same broad classification in which I see Spider-Man, Star Wars, The Matrix, Jurassic Park, go down the whole list. Those are all, to me, not in the same category as a literary work. They're variations on McDonald's Land, Ronald McDonald, the Hamburglar, and Mayor McCheese. Cerebus never was in that category in my mind, and I'd have no more of an idea how to do that than I would know how to write a Batman script, because it's just I don't connect with my creativity that way. I definitely take the graphic novel concept seriously, and I take graphic novel as again, something from the pre-sequel time period. You have your one shot at this, and if it didn't work, it didn't work. So again, trying to go over to your side of the perception chessboard. Every reader of any book or any series of books decides for themselves if a story is missing something. But if you try to put everything every reader thinks is missing into Cerebus, it would never be done, and it would be way too large to ever actually be printed. It's like Matt's already got this whole shelf devoted to Cerebus. If I tried doing something that was audience oriented to the point that you're talking about, at that point, Matt would have to get a new apartment and probably have to get rid of Paula and Bullwinkle and Janice Pearl, because I'm sorry, I'm going to need the room for this Cerebus that is just never done. Further thought. This was a note that I wrote down way at the very end. I mean, the only place that I can meet you head on this one, Christon, is I definitely owe a lifelong debt to Frank Thorne for the fact that when I had done the first issue of Cerebus and sent it to him, he responded with a complimentary letter. So with a drawing of Red Sonja with Cerebus that I ran in Cerebus #2. And it's like, psychologically, I couldn't explain how important that was to me and what a difference that made in, here's something that this probably isn't going to work because nothing I do works, but I got to give this a try. And okay, I've now done one of these, and nothing's really happening with it in, a capital H happening way. And now I'm having to do the second one, and I hope that the second one is going to be at least a small H happening. And it's like Frank Thorne just transformed that. It's like Cerebus is now happening. Frank Thorne is a drawing of Red Sonja, who was hot in 1977, 1978. Frank Thorne's Red Sonja particularly. So consequently, you will get covers that I do for cartoonists that I see being in that situation. I look at this and I like it, and I hope the guy's able to keep going on this. And unfortunately, I know that I can't just have that as a kind of philosophical, I hope things works out for him. It's, if you can devote the time, cartooning time, it's not Strange Death of Alex Raymond time, it's not photorealism time. Most of this is just cartooning. All you got to do is a cartoon for this person, or a variant cover, all in proportion to, okay, how much have they done on their side? When I get a book from somebody and it's like 7 issues, it may have taken them 5 years to do 7 issues, but it is 7 issues. So at that point, it's like, okay, they do need the encouragement. They've done more on their side than I had done on Cerebus when Frank Thorne responded the way he did, and particularly when Frank Thorne did the cover to number 7. It's like, I ask him, and it's like, how could you possibly ask him to do that? He's a professional cartoonist, riding a wave with Red Sonja, and he just went ahead and did it. Here's the first 7 pages of issue number 7. Can you do a cover of this? And bada bing, bada boom, it's here. So I'm capable of doing that. I'm probably getting too old to do that. The Ninja High School is one of those, okay, here's a guy who's been doing this since 1987. He's 2 years older than I am. Dave Sim and Ben Dunn have a combined age of 138, if you can believe it. And, okay, this is one of those, well, you've got to acknowledge that. Guy wants to do a crossover. It's 45 pages. I'm not going to be working on all of the pages, but I'm going to be working on a bunch of them. You kind of have to do it. How many guys are there like this? And show of hands, how many guys are going to approach me about it? So, Christon, you will get stuff like that as long as I'm capable of doing it. But I think with Strange Death of Alex Raymond, there is going to come a point where I'm going to have to say, okay, and I think it might be at the end of the Ninja High School crossover where I go, okay, I've learned what I can about getting back to not. Todd McFarlane made a joke about it because Todd McFarlane. I remember back in the early 1990s, Todd McFarlane going, I figured out this new way of drawing comics that's really, really efficient. It's called hack. It's like, oh, Todd, it's not hack. You're Todd McFarlane. It's fast and efficient, and it's like, but certainly compared to, somebody searching his inner soul and waiting until his inner soul bubbles up to the surface before he touches a brush to a canvas. Good way to put it, Todd. It's I found this new way of doing comics. It's called hack, and it's learning to do it smoothly, efficiently. You turn out the pages, you get them done. You're not. It's not easy. It's not effortless, but you're not exactly trying to run the 3-minute mile or anything like that either. It is just writing and drawing comics. I'm hoping that back and forth between Ninja High School, Strange Death of Alex Raymond, Strange Death of Alex Raymond, Ninja High School, through until page 45, or there's probably going to be more pages than that, because I'm going, all right, give it room to breathe. I love Ben Dunn's layout here. I can smush it up into the corner of page 14, or I can let it take up 90% of page 14. It's going to look better that way. But it means if I'm going to get the rest of Ben's story in here and what I'm doing with his story, I'm probably going to have to add a page or two in. So we're probably talking a year of a Ninja High School crossover page a week. Hopefully getting to the point where I go, okay, now Grandpa's 69, Grandpa's going on 70, Grandpa's just doing Strange Death of Alex Raymond and not walking away from it for any length of time so that I lose those chops. So it's called hack. I know how to sit down and do a Strange Death of Alex Raymond page, and it doesn't take me all week. It takes me like 3 or 4 days, because it's just, I'm organized mentally and I know how to do this. But having said all that, and that is the end of my answer to you on that one, Christon, is now I forgot my train of thought. How was I going to finish that off? I am hitting the, I'm going to be hitting 70 years old, and it's like, there's no way Strange Death of Alex Raymond's going to be done by the time I'm 70 years old. So in terms of me trying to plan how this is going to go, that's how I'm planning. But as I said earlier, and boy, I've got more experience than I care with that. Know how to make God laugh. Tell him your plans. So there you go. Thank you, Christon, and thank you particularly for the level of interest that you have in my work. It's very, very flattering.
So years ago, the lottery was at one of those astronomical figures where if you were the single person that won, you would, the phrase "some yenta with more money than brains" would be the only way to describe you.
Right.
I was, I bought my ticket, and it's the, you buy the ticket on Tuesday, the drawing's not till Wednesday, so you got 24 hours of, if I hit the prize and I get all the money, what am I going to do? I went, if I had the money, which, that phrase always is immediately followed by the thought of, you're never going to have that kind of money, Matt, but go ahead, dream. I got the idea in my head of, if I could pay George Perez to do a story, I would love for him to do one of those medieval battle stories, kind of like the Lord of the Rings movies, where there's an encampment in the city and there's a sieging army, and it's George Perez, so it's gonna, every single inch of page is gonna be covered in little squiggles that look gorgeous, and I'm like, I would love to get George Perez to do a fantasy story of an epic battle story, and after thinking about it for a while, I'm like, it'd be great to have a little itty bitty aardvark in there, and get George Perez to do a Cerebus, one of those pre-Cerebus #1 stories that we never got of Cerebus in some epic medieval battle. And I'm like, it could be the story of how he got the sword. Like, he's in this fight, he loses his weapon, and then he grabs the sword, and there's a bright flash in the background, fades away as he's got the medallions and the helmet and the sword, and then it goes back to being the rest of the battle. And I'm like, yeah, if I win $100 billion in the lottery, I can afford to pay George Perez. Because at the time, it's early 2000s. George Perez, I'm not going to say he was slowing down, but he was very much at the, if you threw enough money at him, he'd do it. But if you weren't going to throw money at him, he doesn't need to do this if he doesn't want to.
Right.
And it's that story that I kept coming, and George got older, George finally died, and I'm going, well, there goes that dream. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, wait, what if I went to, and you start to think, who could do the same kind of level of work? And it's like, again, you'd have to win the lottery and not spend any money on anything but this. And there's a good chance that any artist you approach would be like, give me the check and I'll send you the pages as soon as they're done, and you'd never see them again.
I was just going to say that. It's one of those, when you're talking about real life-transforming amounts of money, you've got to be careful because people don't know how their lives are going to transform out of something like that. It's an interesting, none of our business story to ask Bill Sienkiewicz, assuming that the rumors are true that Kevin Eastman did buy all of his artwork to that point for $1 million. What happened to your life at that point? Do you even remember what it was like to suddenly have, probably paid, I'm sure you paid taxes on it, so it wasn't $1 million. But you went from having all of this artwork and, doing okay. I mean, you were getting a top rate at Marvel, no question about that, and getting royalties. But compared to, here's the steamroller dream amount of money, what did that do? And what would you do differently now, knowing what that did? I'm kind of fortunate that it really is just Strange Death of Alex Raymond. There's absolutely nothing in my life that comes anywhere close to measuring up to doing a really, really good Alex Raymond page, where I go, I would not be ashamed to show this panel to Al Williamson or Neil Adams or Stan Drake, and just going, I think I'm hitting that level every once in a while. Okay, would you agree that I did on this panel? Because I kind of think that I am, and it's like there's just nothing better than that. Consequently, any amount of money is just okay. Now I don't have to do other things because I got this giant chunk of money. I mean, the humble bundle money, that's a giant chunk of money to me. That's that's not even a drop in a bucket to most people in 2024. But it's I don't spend money on anything else. This is 100% my entertainment and my pleasure. At the same time, the downside is a page that was coming along and was going to be absolutely amazing, and then it went from being a 10 to a 7 because I did something here that I didn't think over, and I just went, well, here, this will work. And it's like, no, I just killed this effect here and this effect here and this effect here just with that one brushstroke. And, well, that's what makes horse races. That's why this is as fine-tuned as it is. That's why the jaw-dropper Al Williamson panels that I've got in full-size photocopy form and seeing them for the first time in 18 years. And it's, when Al Williamson got that figure done and that face done and that background, it would have been, this is a good day. It doesn't matter what else happens today. This is a good day. I could cheerfully have showed this Corrigan strip to Alex Raymond and have gone, This is me trying to measure up to you, sir. And I think I did. I'm real hard on myself, but I think I did. But certainly in that category, it would be, okay, that's over in the direction of the Turtles crossover. If you could have gotten George, if you had won that amount of money, and you had gotten George Perez to draw George Perez pages, and all he has to do is leave space for my aardvark, and he's willing to do that for like 20, 25 pages, and we can sell it as a George Perez project. I could picture myself being tempted to do that, even though I would know better. It would be, no, you're probably better doing Strange Death of Alex Raymond and doing Ninja High School, where you got to carry a little more of your own weight and learn how to hack, learn how to just get that page down, just grind those pages out. So there you go.